throw it to you.
Yay! Oh my goodness. Okay, so guys, I'm really, really excited to just come on, and I feel like I can speak really transparently to you guys. Paige and I have been friends for a long time, met through this, and it's funny that she brought up the story of Summit, because I remember the exact moment that she's talking about. We had just left lunch together with a big group of girls, and we were walking back to the convention center, and we were in this empty parking lot. And I remember the exact moment, like we were almost like hopping over the parking barriers. And she asked me about the fact that I was leaving teaching. And I remember this like clenching in my chest of feeling like I was terrified to even tell her that I had made that decision. While I knew every bit in my heart that it was what I wanted to do, the moment and like the action of it was paralyzing. And I can almost like go back to the feel that tightness, because I remember thinking, does she think I'm crazy? I mean, at that time I was taking a risk. But it was a pull in my business that I knew that I needed to make. And I think it's really important, because I think that's really huge for us to think about the full circle and the difference in perspectives. Paige was looking at me thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I wish I could do that. I'm jealous that she's doing that. And I was looking at her thinking, is she going to think I'm crazy for doing this? And I think that's so important to remember, because a lot of times we get stuck in our own thoughts, and we think that we know what the other people are thinking, when in reality we're very, very wrong. And so when Paige and I actually at NLC got to have that conversation, it was kind of one of those moments where like I got to actually hear what she was thinking, and it was so powerful for me to kind of like bring that full circle moment, because I was scared. And I will say, anything in this business that you do that is coming from a place of passion, I'm going to let you know, the fear doesn't ever go away. It's always scary, but it's exciting. And if you haven't read the book 5 Second Rule, like turning that fear and that anxiety of I'm freaking out into I'm excited, it can really do some powerful things for you. And so with this business, to kind of then also touch back on the fact that I did just get to go on this massive retreat that I honestly was really, really nervous to go on, because my business started 2 years ago. I began coaching with, I was a third grade teacher, and our special education teacher was my coach. And that's how we'd been friends. We'd gone to school together, high school, but she was actually another teacher in my building, and then left that following year because she took another position. And so that was how we connected. And that was why I trusted her to be my coach, because I joined in with this with the only intention of being a challenger. And so I had no clue what the coaching opportunity was. I was just a woman who was miserable in the skin I was in and needed to take care of myself. And so, what happened though, when you sometimes join with your coach, is sometimes, coaching isn't for everyone. And I think that's important to understand as you're building your team, and as you bring people around you, just know coaching isn't for everyone, and that is okay. But I am a firm believer that every single piece that we are given in this like journey, I don't know, I'm like a firm believer that it is meant for us in some way or another. It's meant to strengthen us or make us really understand our calling. And so while my coach that I joined with originally is not my coach any longer, it really put me into a space of ownership and leadership in my business, and really understanding why I wanted to do this business. Because when I first joined her, it was just fun. I was working out in my dining room. I was losing weight. And then when she asked me to coach, I was still teaching, and it was fun to help other people and make some extra cash. And so all of that was good and fun. And then when she stopped coaching, I had to really like have a full circle moment on, okay, wait, am I doing this for fun? Or am I doing this because I want it to actually become something bigger? And that was when I went on the Success Club trip, which hands down changed my business in so many ways. I'm not going to dig into that. I'll let you guys experience that for yourselves, because I know you'll either be there or will be. But what happened to me was I became an orphaned coach, and I had to understand that no one was going to make me get on a call, that no one was going to ask me what my Success Club numbers were, that no one was going to make a leaderboard for me with my SC numbers on it. And so when you think about your business, Beachbody's really cool at giving recognition, but when you don't have a mentor to do those things for you, you have to really look inside and why you're going to do this business for you. And so for 3 years now, I was swimming on my own, lightly, because remember that ownership I talked about? I looked within and I said, okay, Lauren, I really want to do this, but I know I can't do this alone. I know that I do need a tribe. I know that if I don't have something above me, I'm going to have to take ownership in finding it. And so Paige said, I'm an adopted coach by Megan. Why? Because I reached out to Megan. I said, Megan, I don't need you to be my babysitter, but I need your fire. I need your community. Can I come in and just feel the fire from your team and at least grasp and be resourceful behind it? And Megan, being the amazing person she is, without a doubt, said, yep, I'll add you in right now. Absolutely, girl. And then I told her what I was pushing for. At that time, I was pushing for Diamond. And I said, I'm pushing for Diamond. And she said, are you doing it by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to be Diamond before I go to this trip in Mexico. She was like, all right, come on. And so Megan has opened her arms wide to me and let me become part of the family, but not because she had to, and not because she reached out to me, but because I seeked her out and said, can I feel your fire? And I think that's something what we all have to realize is no one is going to light our fire for us. It's up to us to ignite it and then find the people that are going to fan it. And that's what I've done with Spirit and Spunk and what I've been able to then replicate down to my team. And so just this January, so what, we're in early March, just this January, the cards, I don't not cards fell, but everything kind of fell into place. And I received a message from Lindsay Matway, who then said, hey, I see you're in this space in my business center, and I see that you're, advancing your business forward. I'm going to make you one of my coaches, because at this time it's, how all the downlines is. But basically, I was under her aunt, and then she canceled her aunt so that I could become hers. So she then adopted me, and now I am officially one of her PS coaches. And it's really interesting because now, after 3 years, last month I was on a leaderboard that someone else made for me, and it was really exciting. And I feel like it was kind of a full circle moment, because it was those things that sometimes we take for granted when we do have an awesome mentor. And so long story short, sorry, I'm supposed to talk to you guys about leveling up, but long story short, I was invited on this massive retreat to Orlando, Florida, to stay in a mansion with 5 other 15-star diamond coaches. Now, if you're a new coach, just know that when you hear someone's 15-star diamond, it means they have worked their tail off, and they have worked hard, and they have left a legacy and a ripple effect of changing other people's lives. And so I was really intimidated to go onto this retreat, because I really felt like I was going to stick out like a sore thumb. And what was the number one thing that I felt as soon as I walked into that mansion was, these are just real women who had a real vision, and they put the work in and they took action with it. And that, I think, is why my approach towards this business has changed after this retreat. I came home with a fire in my belly, not because I all of a sudden had this amazing mentorship, but because I realized that the mentor that I'd put on this pedestal was just a hard worker, and was just someone who wanted to spread it like wildfire. And so I thought, if she can do it, why can't I? And so I left that retreat with just like I felt like a sponge, like, you know, like kids when they just like absorb everything. Like I felt like this little kid that was like there, like I was the one, I sat in the front row and I was like nerd alert, but so in my element and excited. And one thing that I took from this was from a coach named Jessica Jaharis. And you guys may or may not know her. She's not really one of the huge names you hear, but she is a 15-star diamond coach that has created a legacy for herself. And I kind of want to share with you something that just stuck with me so much about the mindset towards this business. And you know, I know Paige said we've got some new coaches on here, and this is something that any coach can take and implement in the future of this business. And she compared our business to running a marathon. And she talked about how she's not a runner, but she wanted to do something. She wanted to set a goal for herself, and she just wanted to see if she could do it. And so she'd started training. She would run, you know, 1 mile one day, you know, 1.5 miles the next day, or she'd set markers, and she just kept running. And she talked about the process of training for it. And she's like, guys, that's our business. Our business is not some quick race that we just show up and jog to the end of the flagpole one day. This business is something we have to train for, and we have to be ready to put in the work and to put in the endurance. And we have to have this shift in our mindset of knowing that the things we're working for might not happen as easily as we want them to. You know, there might be a day when we show up for work or for the run or for work essentially, and our knee is hurt and we can't run as fast as we did the day before, you know, and I'm speaking, you know, metaphorically here. But what she talked about was this race she trained for. And she was finally race day. And she shows up and she's so excited. And she, you know, she's a very theatrical talker. So she's up in the front of the theater sharing this story with us. And she's talking about how as she was running, she just felt this momentum and she was just going. And she gets to this space in her mindset where she's like, I am running fast. Like I am doing good. And she's like, I've got a good pace. I'm feeling good. And she's like, and then I see this guy who's holding a sign and he's yelling, 1 more mile, 1 more mile. And she realizes, she's like, I only have 1 mile left. Like she all of a sudden had this shift in her mindset that she was almost done. And she's like, and I gave it my all. I sprinted as fast as I could. And I get to that next mile and I see this stand. And she's like, and I instantly had this sheer disappointment. And I was like, this is the finish line? I ran 13 miles and this is the finish line? She's like, I realized that was the 11-mile mark checkpoint. That man was standing in the wrong space with his sign. She said, I had sprinted this last mile and my mindset was crushed because instantly she thought, I've just given it my all and now I still have 2 miles to run, which I'm not a runner, but 2 miles sounds miserable to me. And after I've done 11 miles, like I was sitting here like looking at this girl thinking, what in the world? And so she thought, I almost gave in. She's like, this is it. I have nothing more. I have nothing more to give. Everything is crushing down. And what she said she had to do, she had to realize and shift her mindset. She trained for this. She knew that her body was equipped to run 13 miles, but she had to realize that she was just going to have to give it more. She was going to have to turn her mindset around and know that she could either walk after she just ran and kicked butt for 11 miles, or she could keep on trucking through to get those last 2 miles in. And she's like, it was all about shifting my mindset. And I decided, I trained for this. I've worked for this. I've done everything I need to do for this. I'm going to keep going. And just her, like when she talked about getting to the finish line, it was like emotional for all of us. Cause she's like, when I hit that finish line and it was as celebratory as I had envisioned it to be, she's like, I broke down. She's like, but all because I could have easily stopped at mile 11 because everything I'd pushed for didn't work. And she said, and that's when it was all kind of shifted to us, because that's our business, guys. we train for this every day. We are putting in the work. We're doing the vital behaviors. We're making the connections. But sometimes we have a man standing telling us that it's almost the finish line when we really have 2 more miles to go. And so we have to realize, a quote she left us with was, you aren't going to rise to the level of your goals. You're going to fall to the level of your systems. So if your system is that you're just looking for that finish line, you're going to fall. Because if you're not training for the work that you have to put in, you're never going to achieve that goal. You're never going to get to your final destination. And so when we treat our business like a marathon, we don't have to worry about not getting to the finish line because we are doing the things that it takes to get there. And I think when we're talking about leveling up our businesses, we have to think, are we doing those things? Are you training as if you're going to get to that finish line? Are you matching your intentions with the work to get there? So I can say all day, so right now my goal, we're pushing for 5-star, and I am in a group right now that is pushing to be 5-star by Summit, and it scares me to death. It's terrifying because it's a big goal. And so right now, every day when I wake up, I have to think, okay, is this just something pretty that I'm saying I'm pushing for, or am I doing the work that's going to get me there? And I will tell you guys, the work that's going to get you to these goals is no different than the work to build to a diamond. When I took out the fact that achieving a whatever diamond rank your goal is, it is nothing more than building to diamond and doing it over again and doing it over again. And so right now, I have a diamond roadmap downstairs because I can only focus on one diamond at a time. I get my business center to a strong diamond, and then I get my the other business center that I'm focusing on, whether it be a spouse or a parent or your second business center. And so right now I'm focusing on that, and I am doing the vitals to get that business center there, and I'm putting those pieces all together. And so I think one other thing that I'm going to kind of like not leave you with, but like before I kind of open you guys up for like some questions, if anyone has it, was, and this was said by Holly Hilliard, and it was so true. And I don't mean this in any offense to any like human. When I say this rank, I don't want you to take offense about to the person behind it. But she said, you can never trust a diamond. And it doesn't mean you can't trust the diamond coach, but it means you can't trust that rank. You can't sit on that rank to hold you there, because the second that you trust that it's going to be sturdy and still, someone's going to go inactive and someone's going to drop. And so if you're always in the mindset of like, that diamond there, it's nice and pretty, but I'm watching you. Don't ever let your business, don't ever trust that diamond. And that counts on yourself too. If you think, for me, I still to this day, and I feel like my diamond rank is fairly strong. Wednesday nights, Tuesday specifically, I go in my back office and I am counting. I am a counting fool. I have gotten so good at counting my back office and knowing who is active, who is inactive, how many active coaches I have on my right leg, how many I have on my left leg, and how many emeralds and diamonds I have in the organization. And that's for me, not trusting a diamond, because the only person you can come to trust is you, because you're going to be the creator of your business center. And that's for me, my word of the year. I don't know if anyone, like, I feel like a lot of people choose a word of the year. Last year, my word was, what was it? Calm. Yeah. Cause I wanted like a life of calm. This year it's ownership. And my word, ownership, is not only trickling in my own actions, but it's in my team's actions. And I've seen a shift in my team because my leaders are taking ownership in their businesses. And that's one thing that's so huge, is we can want this for other people all day. You can wish that you had a business that looked like someone else, but when it comes down to it, the ownership that you take in your actions, And this this is the same in our own health and fitness journey. I always say, like, our coaching journey jobs are no different than the pain in the butt stuff we got to deal with our health and wellness. We got to take ownership in getting in our workouts and eating well and sharing it and all those things. It comes down to it. It's just taking ownership and then believing that other people can do it too, and being in tune with your why and just strengthened into that core. And I feel like when you believe it, it makes showing up for it so much easier. So I'm gonna let you guys, like, that's kind of some things I have. I could go on and on, but I don't want to. I talk a lot, so I'll cut myself here for a minute. And then Paige, if you have any questions or if anyone does, I'll be happy to answer.
Can you give some specific examples of like whenever you see somebody that's ready to level up in their business, or like when the shift happened in you where you were like, okay, you talked about that moment where it's like, you didn't have an upline reel anymore, and there had to be that thing in you that was like, okay, I can either do this path or I can do this path, and you obviously chose to level up like way, way back then. So can you give some really practical and tangible tips about what that looks like?
100%. Okay, so I had multiple shifts in my business because I was kind of I was never resistant to this, but I was resistant to my lifestyle. I'll kind of go into detail a little bit with this. I always tell my team, like, I didn't ever intend to coach full time. If you scroll back far enough on my Instagram, and I'll tell you the exact picture, there's a picture of me and Xavier, who's my son, and we were at the pool in the summer, and I was coaching and I was loving it. And I was seeing that some people did this full time. And I remember I was still happy teaching. And I wrote this post up while I was at the pool, and I was like, don't ever think that I will ever leave my full-time job. Teaching is my passion, and coaching is going to cover our travel expenses, our vacations in the summer. And so I always remember that moment, because whenever we shift our mindset, I don't discount yourself, because sometimes you'll be reaping your own words. But for me, the big shift was I was teaching full time, and I also had a side photography business, which I don't talk about a lot because I wasn't a really good photographer, but it was extra money. And so I used to do family mini sessions. I would do these cute little Christmas backgrounds, and I would in winter days, freezing cold winter days, stand out for 8 hours at a time doing mini sessions. And so for me, the first thing that I wanted to use coaching for was to replace the photography business that I was trying to maintain. And so that was the very first thing. And so for me, what I was making in the photography business, I was like, okay, I'm going to make that with coaching. And then the second shift, and I don't know, some of you have probably heard my story with this, but in the state of West Virginia, we had a massive strike. And so it really made me bitter towards the passion that I once had as a teacher. It was a very big shift in what I loved about teaching, and the respect that came behind it. And so that became my second shift, was when I witnessed the strike happen, and the paycheck that I kind of always leaned on, that I thought would be there, because we all have our full-time jobs or whatever income that you're used to, whether you're a stay-at-home mom and this is your income, and your husband, we all have that income that's kind of just like there with our jobs. And that's kind of how I took it for granted for a long time. And so when there was a week where I thought I wasn't going to get a teacher paycheck, that was really huge for me. And then it made me realize that the only person I can actually count on is myself. And when it comes down to taking care of my family and paying bills, that's who I can count on. So that was the big shift. And then I went on this trip and I met all these other coaches that did it full time. And I was like, what? Like, real people do this full time, not just the people who like I've seen on the National Wake Up Call, like the elite. And so that was a big shift for me too. And I will say, when I've watched my teammates, come on this shift as well, it's when they all find how they want to use coaching to better their lives. So I have one coach right now who's working so hard to diamond, and she's going to get it. I know she is. But she's a teacher also, but her husband, they just got married, and her husband just bought a really nice truck, and she wanted him to get it, but they're newlyweds. And so they're still just trying to figure out having a shared bank account. So she said to me, she said, Lauren, I want to pay his truck payment every month for him because, you know, he works so hard for me and all this stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, let's reverse engineer this. And she's been one of my coaches. She'll hit Success Club for the t-shirt, and then she'll hit Success Club for, you know, because she has a full-time job and she hasn't needed it for herself. And last month, when we reverse engineered it of what she wanted to put her coaching money to, she hit her highest SC numbers yet. I think she hit SC 12. And so it covered her husband's truck payment. And so I thought that was really huge. And I've seen it with my other leader coaches. I have another coach who was just miserable in her job, and her job was essentially paying for daycare for her 3 kids. And so she said to me, Lauren, I want to be home and I want to make the money that I was paying for daycare so that we can just be home. And so that was her reverse engineering with it. So I will say, when your business shifts is when you make yourself accountable towards earning the income for it. That's when the big shift seems to be happening from what I've witnessed. Does that help, Paige?
Does anybody have questions for Lauren about anything? Pick her brain.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be happy to share. I learned so much stuff on this weekend, but like, there's so much. I went into the Marco that Paige and I were in, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. But I know sometimes I can be overwhelming. So don't be afraid to ask anything. Anything.
There's one in the chat.
We must do's. Absolutely. Okay. So for me, number 1 is show your face, be present on social media. And I know sometimes like there's a thin line between, you know, disconnecting for self-care and being present in your business. But when you're talking about being on social media, our Instagram stories, that's three slides is 45 seconds of your day. 45 seconds of your day. Even if you're unplugging, we can find 45 seconds to at least show someone and be a light. Whether it's a picture of your dog being silly, or the fact that like you're just showing up that you're eating a healthy breakfast or drinking your Shakeology or whatever it is. So my number 1 is, there has not been a single day in the past 3 years that I have not been on social media. It doesn't mean I've made a post every day, because sometimes because I'm a stickler about not forcing my posts, I have to like be there. But I post 6 times a week. I'll give myself 1 day a week to like decompress of posting inspiration. But on my Instagram stories, I am there every single day. Number 2 is get yourself results. Now, don't take those words physically. Get yourself results. We have so much more, like physical and mental is huge. When my business is thriving, my results are thriving. So I'm either like feeling really good about the program that I'm doing. I'm either feeling really good about my nutrition. But when I'm in a lull and like I'm not happy with my workout, or I'm eating like poo, my business is turning to poo. And so that's the one thing I've noticed. And so I love it though. I'm like, hold on. My business does better when I'm taking care of myself. And so that's number 2. And then number 3 is sharing this opportunity with other people. I always say, my biggest analogy, I don't know if anyone's ever heard me say it, I feel like the people in my sneak peeks always do. But have you ever, okay, all of us have thrown a birthday party before, whether it be for ourselves or for our child or for a friend. And our challenge groups are no different than a birthday party. And if you're planning a party and you're putting all the things together and you're getting all the, getting the posts and everything ready, or in a birthday party's case, getting all the decorations, and then you sit there and it's party day and you've got a cake and nobody shows up and you're like, what happened? Why isn't no one here? That's kind of like a challenge group. When you're not selling challenge packs, it means you're not sharing and inviting people to your birthday party. And so I firmly believe in the process of inviting. And inviting doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be corny. It doesn't have to be cheesy in the sense of like the things that we see being like, sometimes you can feel it. Invite how you would want to be invited. Me personally, I am a to the point kind of inviting girl because I can tell. I mean, I love MLMs. I love them and I support them. I actually, my best friend sells Unique. I wear Unique makeup. I have another friend. She sells Rodan Fields. I wear Rodan Fields. But one day I had a girl just prodding me and I wanted to be like, honey, ask me to buy your lotion so I can tell you that I think your lotion is amazing, but I buy it from another girl. And so for me, I love going in and just sharing this with other people because I want people coming to my party. My party is a place to be, and so I find other people. So, long story short, show up on your social media, do your workouts, be a product of what we do, and share this and invite other people to do it with you. Those top 3, hands down.
I think loving your program and getting results also makes inviting a lot easier because if you love what you're doing, just like anything else, like if I go to a new restaurant that I love,
right,
I'm going to naturally tell people about it. So that's why it's important to pick programs that work for you.
100%.
Finish them, get great results, and love what you're doing.
And also know that it's okay if you don't love a program. I'm going to speak openly. I knew, and I actually cried to Paige one day. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like bar. I can't do bar right now. I need to do 6 weeks of the work. And so guys, I did it. I launched 6 weeks of the work and I didn't launch bar. Did it mean I wasn't being a product of the product? Heck no. It meant I was launching my programs because they brought me joy. And right now, I don't know if any of you guys follow me, but like, 10 rounds is going to be my jam. I began coaching with Core to Force on DVD. Like that, I bought my challenge pack to become a coach with the Core to Force challenge pack. So the fact of this, like, I am so freaking excited about it. I've actually like in a standstill right now because I'm like, I don't want to sign anybody up until I can get them like next Monday until they have 10 rounds. Don't do that. I'm still signing people up. But like in my mind, I'm like, I want all the 10 rounds people because I'm so freaking excited for it. And people feel your energy. And that's why it's so important to find joy in this because someone's going to know, like, they're going to know if you aren't happy because there's such a difference in how you talk about something versus when people feel your energy for it. All right. Do we have I think we had another one. All right. Mindset. Okay. Mindset of being successful is holding you back. Best tip. Okay. So in the sense of like, let me just I want to make sure that I answer it properly. So mindset in thinking like, I don't think I can, or this is too hard type thing. Okay. So I actually have a really great answer for this. One step at a time. One step at a time. I will tell you, focus on your goal. I'll kind of give a little story because I love to always share my stories, but I had a goal to be premier this past year. But before I wanted to be premier, because I do this full time, I had an even bigger goal to be a 2-star so that I could open up my second business center. So I had a coach earn their diamond, work for their diamond on my right leg. And so at that time, my husband had dropped. And so I was like, holy crap, I've got to get him back to diamond because this is my chance. We're going to get to 2-star. And so I was working and working and working, and I built him back to 2-star. And I will say, I'm going to give you a quick little example too. We held it. We were in the holding period. Week 5 on a Saturday, I got my email. I checked my email, and you know that dreaded incident email. We all know the dreaded incident email. There were 2. I had 2 coaches in his business center cancel on his one leg, and I didn't realize. I thought I was done for. I thought in that 5-week qualifying, I hadn't realized that in order that I had actually till Wednesday And so I reached out to Megan. I was like, Megan, I think I just lost it in the 5th week. Like, I was devastated. She's like, no, Lauren, you have until Wednesday. And so I thought, okay, I just have to find 2 challengers and sign them up as discount coaches. Like, that's all I have to do. And I think right there is the key. It's all I have to do. If I think that it's going to be big, then it's going to seem too big. But if I think and break it down that I only have to help 2 people and give them the discount, then that's a lot easier. And for me, I used to, when I first started coaching, I hit SC6, SC4. I was not a consistent. And when I turned around the mindset of like my SC numbers, of knowing that one, SC6 is helping one person every 10 days in a month, like that's easy. Hitting diamond is, only helping, it's getting 8 people. So if you think in a month, if you hit SC12, that's 6 people. You're already halfway to diamond. You know what I mean? Like, so if you shift your mindset and thinking this is going to be so hard, to hold on, how can I break this down so that I can make it easy? I'm in a diamond push group right now, and we have to sign 8 coaches in 4 weeks to get our pot of the money. And I told my husband, I was like, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And don't think that I don't have the limiting beliefs, but sometimes I got to talk myself down the ledge. And so he looked at me, he's like, well, do you think you can do it? Or I said to him, I said, do you think I could do it? He was like, no, I know you can do it. And I was like, you're right. That's just 2 people a week. In 4 weeks, 8 people, that's 2 people a week. I can do that. And so thinking about the things and reverse engineering them and not thinking about them being so big. And the reason I talked to you about the 2-star thing was I was so focused on that goal that I didn't even realize it. In July, that same month, we hit Premier. So when we focus, the beauty of Beachbody's goals, they really all so nicely fall into place with each other. When we're pushing for, helping our coaches hit Success Club, or when we're pushing for goals, it really all falls into place. And then organizing my month. Oh, I'm the girl who I want so bad to be organized, and I try really, really hard. So I would love to tell you that I have some beautiful organization. Right now it's a dry erase calendar. It's a dry erase calendar that I keep on my wall. And then I also have a Ray Dunn calendar that is just a calendar. I have learned less is more for me. I can be more consistent if I have less things to put something in. So a Ray Dunn calendar that is nothing more than a calendar that was written for me, and a blank notebook that I keep. This is a notebook. I got it from Target. But at the top, you can circle the month and the day. So it just has the month. And so I keep my names in here. I keep my notes from training. So these are my notes from all the trainings. And I'm just super, I just write who spoke it at the top. I wish I could tell you I had a lot of organization with that. And then when I do my calendar, I wish I would have brought that up here. It's actually downstairs. But I will say with my calendar, I have SC goals for the week. So week 1 is SC5, week 2 is SC10, SC15, 20, and then I also have coach. So how many coaches I sent up. So just really, like I said, one at a time. All right. Let's see. Are you asking people if they want to do 10 rounds now? What are you setting them up with right now? So right now I've actually just been unloading the free workout like crazy. And I'm just inviting people to my March. I have a boot camp that starts on Monday. So I'm not necessarily doing, I'm not doing 10 rounds until April 6th. So from March 16th to April 6th, I will be talking nonstop about 10 rounds. But right now I'm just sharing out the free workout of it like nobody's business. And I am writing down every single person's name that I am sending that free workout to. People who are signing up now, are you signing them up with a bar challenge pack since it's on sale? Yeah, with the 160 one, if they're wanting bar, yeah. Usually, but I do have where I am doing 6 weeks of the work. I have some people that pay the extra 10 for 6 weeks of the work. But yeah. And then just I'm doing a lot of like discount coaches right now because I am pushing for a rank. All right. All right. I'm making sure. What's my go-to invite? Oh, goodness. You guys might hate me. Okay, so I do make connections. I am good on my connections, but my connections and my invites are separate. They're separate. So I connect and build relationships with people. I set my timer 20 minutes every day and I make my connections, but then I also send out 20 invites every day. And my invites are always directed to whatever I'm hosting. So right now, or whatever I'm posting about. So right now I'm inviting like crazy to my March boot camp because I always want to fill those. And my invite is as simple as, hey, enrolling for my March virtual accountability group, a place where busy women get nutrition and exercise support. Would you want to check out info and see if it's a good fit for you? Super simple. I'm not wordy and then after that, I usually get them on, I am a huge audio text and I put them on audio. Like I start talking to them on audio text. So those are like, I would love to say I have like this beautiful invite, but it's short and sweet, but it's short and sweet because that's what I would react to. I don't react well when it's something long. I'm like, oh, I'm not even going to read that. But I do get a lot of, sure, tell me more. Because I'm not saying like, do you want in? I'm asking if they want info about it. Overthink messages so much. I love that. So I do too. There's still days I'll wake up and I'm like, or I'll see someone be like snarky about, people inviting on like social, just other people. So what I do when I start to overthink is this might hit somebody in the feels because you may have missed, but I think to myself, am I preventing? So I think about the people that have actually helped. So I have my one coach who now gets to stay home with her kids. She's lost 40 pounds. She looks freaking amazing. I have my cousin who not only has she changed her life, but now her husband is no longer on blood pressure medicine because he is doing these workouts with her. And I think to myself, am I going to let that one person that might not be my people anyways stop me from helping someone else? Because what if my coach would have let someone get in her head and then I would have never known about this? And so I really have to think bigger than myself. And I have to think about the people that are in my groups. And I have to think about my true passion behind this, because I know I am changing lives. I know that the women in my group have been able to take care of themselves, and I've watched them transform in front of me. And that's what I kind of get down to when I do start to get in my head. And I say this quote all the time and I will preach it every day, but you can never say the right thing to the wrong person, and you will never say the wrong thing to the right person. It doesn't matter. I actually posted my, the very first time I went live on Facebook in my team page today. I was a mess, but it was the coolest thing to see because it was 3 years ago. I sat in this very bed with Xavier over my shoulder because I didn't want to be alone on my live video. And I was like talking to my Facebook, asking them to come do my group. Like it's before Instagram stories. So, I wasn't being just super weird, but we all have to start somewhere. And I think like, had I let that moment stop me, look at all the people that we've been able to change their lives for. And we have to think about this being more than just ourselves. And when it comes down to it, just pop on some Lizzo and get in your feels. All right.
Any other last questions for Lauren?
You might have already answered this, and if you did, that's fine. I had to go put my 3-year-old to bed. But I'm really like, I have tons of discount coaches, but I need like actual working coaches. Mm-hmm. So what are your tips for adding working coaches when you don't have any yet, and like building your team like from the beginning,
Yep. I love that question. And I was in that very moment because I built my diamond on discount coaches. So been there. And Megan was the one that actually gave me this advice, because I messaged her with the same question, and she said, start posting about coaching. When you start posting about coaching and how this is changing your life and how others can do this too, it changes everything. And also, don't forget about your challengers and those discount coaches. Don't forget about them becoming coaches. I was a discount coach. I only had the intention to do this to get my Shakeology paid for. That was the only reason I said yes. So don't discount your discount coaches, but at the same time, you got to start talking about the people you're looking for and talking about how this can benefit them too. One thing that's really kind of shifted lately for me is, am I posting saying, look at me or learn from me? And that's kind of, it stuck out with me in the past couple weeks, because there's been a lot of times where I feel like, I'm like, yeah, that post I did was probably more look at me. And so now I've been super intentional about, even like when I'm talking about my team calls, I'm even on my Instagram stories saying like, did you know you can do this with us? Or like, if you decide to coach, you're never doing this alone. Like, I'm always talking to people as if they can be doing this too, because they can. And so I think it's harder when we're newer coaches, because we are just kind of like showing what we're doing. And so when I start really like putting out there, like, hey, I need you to do this too. For me, my big thing is the ripple effect. I live in the state of West Virginia. It is the most, there's like we're one of like the most unhealthy states out there. And I used to use that against me. Like, well, no one's going to join me because, the state is unhealthy. Who's going to want to do this? And then I switched and I was like, wait, I have so many people. And so I talk about the ripple effect a lot and how we want to like change this. And I can't do this alone. And so when you switch your posting about that, you'll notice you'll switch your audience, and it'll make people realize that too. And start posting about how this is helping your life now. My one leader coach, she tells me all the time, she's like, I joined you because I saw like what you had started earning. And and I know it's sometimes like you don't have to like do the income ones, but posting about how your income is being placed is huge. And also knowing that like you guys have a team here of people that you can start talking about what they're doing too. Like that's huge. People are always looking for proof. People are always skeptical and either thinking I could never do that, or they're thinking this isn't real. And so when you're talking about it, especially as a newer coach, you don't always have the proof yet for you, but you guys have this team, you have Spirit and Spunk, you have the proof that it does happen. So they're your teammates. Start using their stories to talk about, and you'll start pulling in people like that for sure.
One of my tricks that I will stand by forever and ever is talking about my team as if they existed before they did. I can clearly remember when I decided I wanted to grow an actual team, I just talked about them as if they were there. And what I used was my team from Megan's team. Like whenever we would do team calls, I would talk about them because that's the kind of vibe and energy I wanted, as if I was creating that team. And now look at us, you know what I mean? Now we have this team, and now you get to do that with our team. Like you're building a team that hopefully there are things on our team that you can pull out and be like, okay, I love this about our team. And then of course there are some things that you're going to be a little bit different with, and you're going to have different specific things that your team's going to include. So talk about them as if they're there, and they start to come once you consistently talk about that.
Yeah, and you guys are a premier team. So start saying like, we're a premier team. Like that's the kind of exciting stuff you're part of. It's not just, it's you guys all together.
Yeah, I can remember also during that time, Spirit and Spunk's rank had come out, and Megan was really excited about it. I want to say it was like 75 or 76 or something like that. And I made a post on my Instagram saying I was part of a team that was 75th in the company. Yeah. You guys, the last time the rankings came out, our team was 57th. Tied with Courtney Harden's team for 57.
Oh, no.
Yes. So you can say that you are part of a team that's ranked 57th in the entire Beachbody company. You can own that because you are the reason we are ranked that number. So use this team to build your team. It's a really, really cool thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. Even
Lauren-
shout out rank advancements too.
Lauren, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Your energy, your light, just all the things you have to say. It's contagious. So thank you so much. And girls, I'm sure that Lauren will be open for questions if you think of any in the next couple days.
Absolutely.
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
tell my
much.
book. You're welcome. I'll chat with you later.
See ya.
Bye.